Michael Bay's Transformers films are both insane mayhem action movies and a strange, sinister advertisement for US military recruitment. And in this video I'm going to go into military propaganda, how these films fall into that category, and we're also going to cover some strange parallels and representations, whether they're intentional or not. The Oxford English Dictionary defines propaganda as information, especially of a biased or misleading nature, used to promote a political cause or point of view. Wartime propaganda has been used since ancient times, and has become even more powerful since the emergence of something called the military entertainment complex. The military entertainment complex is the cooperation between a country's military and its entertainment industry to their mutual benefit. Film has always been used for propaganda and political purposes, and the military has taken advantage of this for a long time. The first ever Best Picture winner was a film called Wings, and it was made with US Air Force support. And one of the most interesting examples of this is the Transformers series. There's some crazy examples of things happening in this film that come off as very propaganda-y when you think about them for a little while, or when you're making a video essay about it. Obviously, you have countless shots of jets taking off and the US military looking cool in general. Megatron's resurrection scene allows for some Navy appreciation, and the Battle of Chicago features a lot of special ops units. And this guy, a young relatable soldier who the audience can easily see themselves in. A central part of the film is the civilian or the alien characters aiding the US military, which gets pretty crazy the further Bay takes it. Near the end of the first film, lovable teen Sam Witwicky, played by Shia LaBeouf, has to get the cube away from Megatron. Lennox, the shining light of patriotism in the film, tells him to get the cube to a helicopter, literally saying,
"Listen to me, you're a soldier now."
The noble Autobots immediately joined the US military to stop Megatron. After the first film, they form Nest, a branch of the US military who go around the world and hunt Decepticons, dropping Optimus Prime himself into combat zones like an airstrike. By the third film, they're even more involved. We also have the bad guys. Hear me out. Megatron equals Bin Laden. Killing him doesn't end the Decepticon incursion, but they still survive in small groups, kind of like terrorist cells. I'm aware this is a stretch, but he literally turns into a plane and flies into the building. And weirdly enough, both of them were buried at sea, even though this film came out 4 years before Bin Laden was killed. 1 and 2 both have huge battle scenes set in the desert, reminiscent of the sandy landscapes that were broadcast throughout the War on Terror, and could enhance the audience's motivation to support the bold, patriotic men and women of the US military. Ian Bryce, one of Transformers' producers, said, "We would never have been able to make this movie without the willingness of the Department of Defense to embrace this project. The cooperation we received was outstanding, and the special thanks of all the films are packed with military personnel, as well as arms companies like Lockheed Martin." At a press event for Transformers 2, Philip Strubb, Director of Entertainment Media at the Department of Defense, said, "We're talking about self-sacrifice, duty, and commitment to something beyond oneself. These are values that we hope come through." Michael Bay has worked with the military since Armageddon in 1998, and he increased the role of the military when he was given the first script for the film. During the production of the second one, the writers were told to add in a scene of a railgun being fired from a battleship, as this was a real weapon the US military had recently acquired. To sum it all up, the Department of Defense allowed Michael Bay to shoot in their bases, film hundreds of millions of dollars of hardware, and use military personnel to train actors and act on set. They even provided staff to help coordinate action scenes that were treated as training exercises for the soldiers who were being filmed. It can be easily argued that there was no reason the military would do all this if they got nothing out of it. But if we're going to assume these films are propaganda, you have to ask. As with all blockbusters, this was made to make money. And as with all Transformers things, this was made to sell toys. To children. Mostly. Keep that in mind. Really, most wartime propaganda is made to show off to other countries and to boost morale of the troops. The Air Force liaison for Revenge of the Fallen said, "There's nothing like an airman taking his family out to the Transformers and watching the kids see something their father or mother does on the big screen." Working with the military so closely also helped them save a lot of money. This film features, among many other $1 million machines, the A-10 Warthog Thunderbolt, the F-22 Raptor, and the Lockheed Martin AC-130 gunship. Michael Bay most likely only paid for fuel and ammunition. Most of the normal disposable military extras in these movies are actual members of the military, meaning they didn't have to pay any pesky actors unions because they're not using actors. But possibly the most insidious aim of these movies is to drive recruitment. But when this franchise has always been aimed at selling children's toys, who are these films selling the military to? The series aims to plant the seeds of military worship into the minds of a young audience. But instead of fighting alien robots that turn into cars, they'll be fighting a very real, tangible, and dangerous threat. Their fellow man. Or maybe they'll fight alien robots, who knows.